we just did our introductions, so I'm not really worried about it. You guys good? Okay. Next slide. So why would you want to know how to do Google Forms, right? The why for me has been, it has been a way for me to collaborate with my, not only my consult students, but also the other professionals that I work with. And it's a quick way for me to do that. And I also have documentation that I have chatted with them and made contact with them. Okay. The other thing that we worry about is like many busy teachers will take time to fill out a form a lot faster than they will. Sorry, I need to scroll. I'm on the wrong one. Anyway, so that many teachers will take out the time, or they will take the time to fill out a form a lot more than they will respond to an email, right? That's what I have found. So that is why I just wanted to share this with you.
Amen.
If you guys are skilled in forms, bear with this. We've got 20 minutes, right? It'll be like the best 20 minutes of your life. It'll be okay. So today, this is kind of what we're going to do. We're going to demonstrate how to create a Google form, because there are some people that do not know how to do that, and that's okay. I didn't know until I had to learn, and then I learned, right? And then we're going to provide templates for you. So when you get the presentation, you'll notice that we're going to have some examples, but the very next slide says templates. So those same ones that we're showing you, they're already created. You'll have to make a copy of them. You'll have them. Modify them, do whatever you want with them. You don't care, right? And then there's also some helpful tips that I have figured out through online itinerant that I would like to share with you. And then we're going to provide, the provide helpful tips is me screwing up and realizing that I screwed up. And I'm going to help you from doing that on my forms. And then other tech tips we have learned. So the first one that we're going to show you, this is just kind of like my monthly check-in with an individual, right? And so I send this out once a month with my monthly tips and tricks. And I ask them, like, what's your name? Is your student wearing their devices consistently? How have you helped the students utilize the microphone, right? Because so many teachers don't know that a microphone can do all of these things. So that was my way of saying, like, when you're using a small group, put this in the middle of a table, right? Like, do you pass this to other professionals when they're going to speech? Those kind of things. And then I also ask how they're doing academically, right? Because that's something that we want to know. And we're not in the classroom every day. So how are they doing academically compared to their peers? Are there any subjects that need support at this time? Because I would like to know that information, right? So that I can maybe support them. Do you have any concerns about peer interactions? Because social is also huge, right, for our students. And then are there any situations that make listening difficult? And then would you like to personally connect with me about the student, right? So I send this out every month.
To all of your students or
Yeah,
just
To the
all?
teachers, right?
To the teachers. This goes to my teachers. The next
Oh,
one
okay.
is my monthly check-in with my students.
Okay.
So I use this with my consult students. Are you wearing your devices, right? You're gonna notice that a lot of these are like pretty consistent. How have you used your microphone, right? And then let's celebrate ways that you've advocated for yourself this month, because I like to spend time like, how are you advocating for yourself? And then are there any subjects that are difficult for you? And then any concerns about your period, like connecting, right, with either teachers or peers, or are there any situations that make it difficult for you to hear? But then this one is one that I've just added this year. Like, tell me something that you have improved on this month that you are particularly proud of, right? Because that's that connection piece, right? Get to know your students, get to know their likes, get to know what they're about. All right. The next two we're going to kind of skip. But these are my console only kids. So some of them don't use mics. Some of them do. And just because you have examples of all of these, you can go back and look at them. But these are kind of like, it's kind of the same thing, but it's not as in detail. Does that make sense? But then I also ask them, if you're fine, then the month one you can go by too, and just go to the students learning ASL. I have some students that are learning ASL. In classrooms, let's just say that they have a multiple disability category, right? But I have a different one that I use for my student who uses an interpreter, right? But this is just for those kids, like, what's your role? How often is a student responding to basic signs in your classroom? What signs have you seen from this student, right? What are the subjects or the next thing that you're going to be teaching them that I can front load and give you the signs for? Jenny and I worked really hard last year to create Nearpods. that we could send based on our students and what they needed and what they wanted. We worked really, that was like our professional goal last year. It was kind of cool. And then just how are they doing with their academic work? And it appears in their classroom, right? Because some of these kids are not in there to, like what you consider a gen ed classroom. And then it's just kind of like the same thing, but it was like, what signs are they using? What are they using independently? What else do you need to know? And then Jenny's used forms in other ways. And by the way, the green was not planned. We both showed up today and this was it. So, yes, Heidi.
Sure. Is it appropriate, like, to create a form that we can send to parents, like, how are they doing at home, or is that?
I would love that.
Like, none of our business?
No, I would love that.
You can send surveys, like we have to get feedback on how we're doing every year.
Yeah, like, I would like to
We
know.
always send that to the parents of like, what are you happy with? What can we do better? How can we better support you? So it's just a certain, you can't just send it to like one parent, you have to send it to several at least, so it doesn't feel like you're pinpointing one and three things like.
We're changing mics because it's what we do.
Okay, and I've used Jamie's, and I haven't done it as detailed as hers, but she sent me like the main things. And I've just sent it out to all the teachers of my students at once. And I haven't sent it in like an email. I've just sent it from forms that we'll talk about in a minute. And so it goes to everybody that I send it to. And I've had pretty good response rate. I got about 40 to 50 teachers who responded each time. So that was nice. And I haven't sent it every single month. And I kind of look at, okay, it's the end of the term on October 28th. And they're going to start again on the 29th with somebody. So I don't send it to their new teachers to fill out on November 1st because they're not going to know any answers yet.
Yes.
One way that I've gotten a really high percentage of feedback on forms. I don't do all these forms. I'm excited that you're sharing them, but I do have like a quiz form that I have all my teachers at the beginning of every year for in-service. Like they do a slide stack in Google and then there's a link to go take a little quiz to see if they watched it. And I copy the superintendent on the email. And so they see the supers email at the front and no joke, I get over 80% every time. It's awesome.
Okay, one that I've done with students is deviceware. I had one student when I first created the form, she was not wearing her device and I can't be there every day to police it. And so I was trying to get a reward system and put out a little strip of paper every week. I'd give her a new one and she was supposed to mark which day she had her hearing aids. And then when I came the next week, I could mark it down on my form. So this is one way to do it. Just the student's name, the date, and then just click on these, which days they had it, and then you can put the total. If she had it 4 days or more, I'd give her a prize. Will you go back up so you can just randomly click or on the email or whatever it is? Oh, it is clicked. Okay. And then, so this is one way where you just have the checkbox of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. With this student, I was looking for patterns. So you go down to where you go to the second page. Next. To the next. Yeah. So I actually separated the days out. So then I would have a column for each day. So I could see Mondays. So I could see if every Monday was a no or over the weekend they forgotten or whatever. So you can set it up different ways of what is going to work best for what you need. Another one that I've done is this beginning of year service times. So I send this out. I don't usually send it to the secondary teachers because I can get their class schedules and see when's the best time for me to pull them. But with elementary kids and the ones that are in the life skills or essential elements or whatever your districts are calling those classes these days, I just send this out at the beginning of the year. So I send it to the teachers and I send this just as a group thing with my little thing at the top. And have them put in their email, the student's name, their name, what hour school is in, when is lunch,
Amen.
when is recess, And then other times the student cannot be available and I want an explanation. I don't want them to just say they're not available 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock and 12:30 to 3. I want to know why. Because you all know that there are plenty of schools like you may only see them this time and I'm like, I really can't. Because I can't be there then, but so I want a reason why, and then they can tell me the best times to work with the student and then best way to contact you. Some teachers like to do it through personal phone text. So I have them put that, and then if they want it to be text, I need the phone number. So I just put that in and there's yeah, right here. This is the responses I got this year. So I got what, 18, 19 of them. And I deleted all the personal information here, but then I have this all on one page. So I don't have to look through 18 emails to find the information from the teachers when they responded to me. So they like, here's their explanation that they'll have motor skills at this time, so they can't be taken during that time. Or this is preschool kid, she's not there on Mondays. And that just helps me when I'm trying to put together a master schedule.
There is a button on forms that will do a summary of all the feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the
So-
button?
It's,
What's that?
we
Where-
can show you when it's in
Okay.
forms.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I had it put it into the spreadsheet because sometimes I like things printed out and in front of me. So then I just printed out the columns I needed. I got rid of the stuff I didn't really, but so it was big enough. And then I had all this right here so I could sit down with, my method is usually get a sticky note for each kid and write when they're available and when they're not available. And then I try to group them by area and arrange them and do it that way. That's easier for me. But this was helpful because I had it all on a page. Let's go to the IEP data sample. So this is a way that you can collect information on your IEP goals. Sometimes you can do it like each IEP goal has its own form, or this one just has a variety together. So, okay, say I put the date I went, and then I just put the goal in here so I can review. And then, okay, they're supposed to answer this many questions from the story that you read to them, just who, what, where questions. How many of them did they get correct? I can just click that. Maybe the next goal is find a rhyming word. And were they able to do it, like which percentage of the words I gave them were they able to rhyme with? Are they able to take their hearing aid off, replace the battery, put the hearing aid back on? And I put all of those 3 steps so that you can just check which ones they could do. And then if there's other comments, I can put that in at that time. So like, note, this was the deal today. And then there's the results page when I did the spreadsheet. So then I have my IEP data right there. And maybe I didn't do this question on this particular day, but I did these 2 things. So then like it's just there for me. I can make it prettier if I want, or I can just turn it over to the school and say, here you go, or whatever I need to do. So that's just an easy way to keep it in one place. And then you have an end of term report right there. Yeah, so these are examples of what the 2 of us have made forms for. And then the next page on this,
Sorry, it was pulled up
yeah,
twice. So
and that one we're not quite to.
Okay.
So these are our examples. The next page is the templates. And so if you click on these, it'll just take you and it'll say, do you want to make a copy of this form? Woo! I like to take people's forms and then tweak them to match me. So how to create a form. So in case you don't know, yes, go ahead and you can just go into my Google Drive there.
I'm already there.
All right.
I'm already there.
There's this little icon. And you can choose a template. I usually just go with blank form. Click on the blank form, or if you're in your Google Drive where you make like a new document or whatever, just click that plus button and then you find the Google Forms. And then you get here and you'll write your title for your form. You can write instructions, whatever here, and then you create your questions. Yeah. So the questions can be, there's lots of different types of questions. They're in this drop-down menu. If you want to go to the sample question types right there. I didn't get creative here. I just showed you what it looks like. So the short answer looks like this. You just type a sentence or a word or whatever. Paragraph will let you write more, and it will also let you push return and put things on different lines. Multiple choice, obvious. You have options. Check boxes, you put out the options, but you can check more than one. So if more than one applies, they can select everything. Drop down, this would just be like, to me, another multiple choice. So if you have a longer list and you don't want a whole big thing on your screen, you can have a drop down menu. A rating scale, you choose what numbers you want, whatever. Multiple choice grid, so you have the question, which answer would it be for this question? Or there's a checkbox grid where you have the things here and it could be both of them. Or multiple, however many columns you put in there. You can have a date, so you click on it and the little calendar pops up, or obviously a time. So those are all the different types of questions you can put into it. Okay, so before you send this, you'll want to go up here into, it's hard to see on this. I just want to make it big.
Yeah, I was like, it's
Make it big. That was really loud, so. Okay, so when you go into, oh no, we have to go into the real one.
Best part, if you.
Because we can't see this, is the, where the form looks like.
I know, it's like Jimmy.
Let's go into, where's the one that you just created? Okay, so when you're in here, when you're creating the form, go into settings. And you can make it a quiz if you want. I've never done that because I haven't done it with kids. Go into responses. And you can collect email addresses. And I usually choose that because if they forget to tell me who they are, then I automatically at least know their email. So collect email addresses. You can let them get a copy of their response or not, whatever. They can edit their responses. I never turn this one on. But if they needed to, they could. This down here, it says limit to one response. I never turn that on either. Because sometimes a teacher has more than one student in their class. So anyway, those are some options you can choose from.
But
And
this
you-
one right here, this restrict users.
Yes.
At USDB, this is automatically on every single one. If you do, this is back in my tips. If you do not click this, you will not get responses and you will get teachers going, I can't fill out your form. So
Yeah.
click that button.
Yeah, so make sure you turn that
You've learned
off.
from me. Click
That is,
button.
that is the default for USDB.
Yes.
You work for USDB, is that right, Vince?
Yes.
A setting.
That's the way it is in mine too. So that's the default.
That's, it's our, through our emails.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to go in and turn that off so they can respond to your form. Okay, and then go down to the defaults. So you can collect by default. And then you can change it to not collect or whatever. So you don't collect, or you can just ask the responder for their email. I just like to leave it on this one. Because then at least I will have an email. Okay, let's go to.
Okay, we're getting mics. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this for a second. One of the things that we want to show you guys too is like when you're sending a form, go ahead, Jimmy. So that little button that's up at the top that says send.
Oh, I forgot to include that. See the little eyeball? If you click on that, if you click on the little eyeball, you can see what the form is going to look like to the people you send it to. Yes, so I always check that to see, okay, is it asking what I want? Does it look decent? And you can fill it out yourself from here. But then, okay, let's go back. There you go.
So if you go to the send button up here, I do this several ways. If I'm doing my monthly tips and reminders, I do mine differently than Jenny does. Jenny sends out a form to all her teachers at once. It's the same form. I individualize mine because it takes more time. I'm going to tell you that right now. It takes more time, but then I have individual student data where I know you can go into Google Forms or Google Sheets and you can like disaggregate data. I don't want to do that on the tail end. So I just take the time at the very beginning of the year, create my own form for each kid. And then I go in and put this in there. So for me, I go and I copy this link. And then I put that link, I just push copy and I put it in my email. And then I make sure that it links to that specific student, that I have all their data for the whole year. Another thing you can do, like when I'm working with my students and I'm doing their form, so that my monthly check-in, I email it to myself, pull it up on my email, have a kid fill out a form. That's the easiest way I found to do that.
Can you make it so that that link goes out every quarter?
You can do that when you schedule your emails. Yes. So there is a way to do that.
Just,
Yeah. So those are the ways that I have used. Okay. I was like, I don't remember what's next, Jenny. Just scroll up. Okay, so when we go to see responses. So under responses, when they're complete. See, it's not pulling them up.
Yeah, because I don't have any responses. We'll get one that does have responses.
So when you pull up responses, you can usually see like a pie chart. You can see like who's filled out the form. You can see those responses on that form itself, or you can click on Google Sheets. So what Jenny was showing you, like all of her responses, she uses Google Sheets because then she's got a paper form right in front of her. I prefer Google Sheets a lot of times too when I'm going to an IEP, right? Then I can say, here's all the data. Like, here's the information that I've taken on their goals. Here's what we're working on. Here's what we're doing. So yeah, so when we go to these responses, you can see it'll give you a summary, right? Which is what Allison was talking about. Of all the responses that we have there. And then you can also go into questions, each individual question, to see how they're answered. And then I usually go into settings. I don't go into settings.
No.
It's in responses, but viewing
individual.
sheets.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's
individual.
too.
Yeah, there's an individual one. But up here in view and sheets, you just click on that. And then you click create sheet or whatever it is.
And that takes you to this.
And it pulls you directly into here. Kelly's new to our world and she's really liking this stuff. Okay. So now on your email notifications, I do it this way. If I'm in responses, I click on those three buttons right there. And it says get email notifications for new responses. Okay, so for me, when I'm creating a form, I just click that and I'm done.
So if anyone fills out the form, it gives her an email.
Every time it comes straight to my email. Okay. I didn't know this till I met with Jenny and we were talking about this presentation. She's like, well, I go in through sheets and I do it. And I was like, well, cool. So if you go into tools and you go into notification settings, go into edit notifications, you can choose any changes are made. A user submits a form. She does like, do you do a daily
I
digest?
do
Or?
a daily digest. So I just get one email a day if someone's changed, added, or filled
So
out. a
does it
form.
give you like, if multiple students have, it's just one email,
One
but tells
email,
you.
and it just says something like, someone has made a change to your form.
So that's how we roll. Okay. So there's our difference on that. The other thing that's kind of fun, if you go back to our sample, I don't know. So where the screen is, the interpreter's there next to the send button. There is, yeah. But then it goes too small, I think.
It gets her.
just move that
Okay.
along.
So yeah, when you click there, then go to make a copy. Okay. Don't type it in 20 times. It's not worth your time. But if you do make a copy, then you make a copy of it. You learn where to save it. Then change your pronouns, change your information, change what you need to do and be done.
Or my easy way is I just write the student everywhere I write he or she. Because then I don't have to change anything.
Yes.
You're safe in all ways.
In all the ways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I shouldn't say somebody. A lot of people like to know how do you make them look fancy or not fancy. It doesn't really matter. I have noticed for some of my teachers, they'll respond better
Mhm.
if it looks fancy. I'm like, whatever. So you just click on that little palette that's up at the top. And then you can change your fonts, you can change the size, you can change the color, but choose image. Gives you a whole category
Mhm.
of images to go through. And
Yeah,
then,
definitely put it on it, put the gospel scene on it.
right? Is, well, and that's my thing, my junior high kids. I find out when my junior high and my high school kids are interested in, and that's what I customize here,
Yeah.
right?
If you're really ambitious, you can upload or put something in yourself. I just choose what's already there because I'm lazy.
Yeah. That's
It's easier. So, yeah, so that's just how you customize your thing, okay? So it's also just right there. So here's the things that I have learned, right? I was gonna say, I think we need to go to the next slide. Yeah, sorry. So things that I've learned is remember to change who has permission to submit if you're wherever you're at, right? If you want somebody else to submit the form and you've got that marked, it's not coming to you and you'll get 50 million emails going, I can't submit your form. Hey, set the form to receive email notifications, right? Because it's really bad when somebody fills out a form, says they want to connect with you and you see it 3 months later, right? It just doesn't look good. Create a copy for less work, right? Use the correct question type. And I'm telling you this because beginning of this year, I was doing all multiple choice and I didn't do check boxes, but I caught it before I actually sent it out. When I said select all that apply, and I was like, they can't. So these are things that I have learned, right? And then if you send directly from forms, you can send reminders to those who have not responded yet.
So when you've sent it out there's when you go into the responses, you can see the list of like who you've sent it to at first. And then when they've responded, it makes a list of who has responded and then waiting for responses. If you just click send reminder that's in the little menu, then you can edit. Because sometimes I've sent an email out to a teacher and they respond from a different account. So I can, when it says send reminder, I can just take their name off that list because they already have, and then send the reminder out. And I usually get a couple more responses when I do that.
If you've already sent the form out
Yes,
and then you edit it, do they get the edited version?
I sure do.
And your form page, your spreadsheet will have what's already there, but if you've added a question or taken a question away, it won't delete that question category, but it'll add a column for your new question.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is wait, there's more. Do you guys know about templates in Gmail? I did not know about templates in Gmail until last year, so I think it's something that everybody should know, right? So this is why I was like other tips and reminders or whatever. The steps are on here, but like I do monthly tips and reminders, right? So, and I do an introduction every year. So we all send out that introductory email, right? Like, this is who I am, this is what I do. I'm going to be coming to work with you. So I go in and I create a template that says introduction. And then when you go in and you start a new email, you push compose, you type in the name and you go down to the bottom where it has the templates once you've turned them on. And you go to that one that says intro, then you type it in and you don't have to copy and paste. That template is already there for you.
Oh, can you show us where to get to those?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so
So Jenny's gonna go to her Gmail really quick.
Gmail,
Then she's gonna go into her settings,
that's the little.
the cog up at the top. And then you go to see all settings. Then you go to advanced.
This is
course.
advanced work.
But this is in your, this is in the presentation, guys, so it's in there. Then you scroll down to where it says templates. And you click enable.
Wait a minute,
Okay.
where's template? Oh,
already got
second.
Yours is
It's already enabled.
It's already good.
Okay, so it's already enabled. So now, Jenny, do you have any templates saved from yours?
I do.
Good. So now she goes to compose. And then those 3 dots that are down. So you've got your send here, you go to those 3 dots. It'll go to templates.
Wow.
Her templates are there.
Yeah, I have the same.
Okay, so where do you save?
Wow.
It just saves in Gmail.
Where's the?
Wow.
Mic
drop, mic drop. Whoa, that's amazing.
I started last year, you guys.
You write an email and then you can save it as a template.
Yeah.
So you compose an email first. And then you go into templates. So Jenny, we go down to the bottom where it says templates.
Like.
And it'll say save draft as template. Then you can save it as a new template. And there you are.
You know, have a wow award.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, the copy and paste is a pain, right?
And you can see what I've done here. You can see what I've done here. I put like the things that I would have to change in red,
Right.
so I remember
Right.
to do it, because if I don't turn it red, I usually miss something.
Forget it, yeah.
So just put it in red, and then this was last year's form one, so I would put in this year's form or whatever. Right here is the link, and then it's already there and I don't have to worry about it 95 times.
Okay, so Jenny, stay there for a second. When you are also on your Gmail, do you guys know about schedule sending?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you just click here, schedule send. So say for instance, Jenny is working on this in July because
So
she's
send it.
crazy. And she's gonna do an introduction right, in July, but she doesn't want to send it until August 15th. So then she can schedule it. So pick a date and time. And then it's already done.
And I use this when I'm doing things late at night sometimes. And it's somebody I'm afraid will have their phone in their bedroom with their email alerts turned on. And then I can just set it, say, go at 7 o'clock in the morning instead or something.
We do that with our newsletters and we set up a group and we put all the teachers in the group and then we schedule it so it goes out every month. Then when we add new teachers to the group, it's already going to them.
So Amber, I have a question about that. When you do like mass emails like that, do you blind copy them all or do you have all their names in there?
I do BCC.
Okay, we do. I do the same thing. I do the BCC
I do
so that they
BCC
don't
on
know.
everything.
It's more of a confidentiality type thing that you don't want people to know.
And then they can't reply all
Right.
to tell you things that not everybody needs to know.
Yeah. So do you guys know about calendar invites and how to repeat them? Like if you see the same student
Yeah,
on Mondays at 9 o'clock,
yeah.
do you all know how to do that?
I've done
Okay.
it.
We're good. We're
But
fine.
there is the other one.
Oh, yes, we're gonna go back to calendar really quick because that was our other tech thing. That has just like saved our bacon with this job.
So you can
Right.
make your calendar invite. And you can link your forms. Okay, there's the repeating thing. I usually do customize because then I can say.
Yes, when to end it.
I can end on May
Yeah.
30th or whatever. And then I don't have things that are like telling me all summer long that I need to see this student on Wednesday at 2:30. And then you can also, if you come down here to the notes, you can put in your links to those forms. So yeah, you would just put, like, I put this here and then I copied the link in here. And then I can just click on this and it would take me to here. So I can hurry and fill it out for a student without having to go through the whole process of finding their page. So you can put these in here to make it easier for you. And then when it's repeated, it'll be there every single week.
It's awesome.
Just little things to save time. The other thing that so this is, sorry, Jenny, will you switch screens again?
Yes.
Sorry. So because we were silly, right? Because it's what we like to do sometimes. So we're already on the next one.
You did great.
So this, how do we do? There's a form for you to fill out if you so choose. You really don't need to fill out the form. It just gives you an example of each question type. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
we're dirty that way, but we've created a form right here to show you how to use the question types. So that's what we've done. And then the last is like, thanks. And Adam, we went over by 15 minutes.
Oh, but it was
Sorry.
so good. We're so glad